the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Monday, May 8th. So today we will have the moon in Sagittarius go void of course at 4:29 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be locking into Capricorn energy at 7:34 p.m. So anytime we're moving out of Sag energy into Capricorn energy, it can feel like we hit a brick wall. Why is that? Well, because we are really thinking big. We are flying high. We are just vibing with that fire energy that Sagittarius actually provides us with. And then we shift into the earth energy of Capricorn. And it's almost like in Sag energy, we are just dreaming the biggest dream possible. We are biting off more than we can chew. We are just flying high. We think that anything is possible. We have the optimism and confidence to actually back that and support that. And then all of a sudden we shift into Capricorn energy. We give ourselves a little bit of a reality check. We come back down to earth. And sometimes that can feel a little bit like hitting a brick wall. So the Capricorn energy sets us up to kind of detach from our emotions, to be productive on taking control over what it is that we have control over, and really throwing ourselves into staying busy, engaging the physical body to stay busy, to stay distracted, so that we're not really having the time, energy, or efforts to contemplate our emotional state. And you know, the Capricorn energy reminds us of our responsibilities, of our commitments, of our obligations, which sometimes can be a good thing to get back to reality, but could also be a not so good thing because a lot of those particular roles and responsibilities are suffocating us right to our last brink of death here. And that brings on the existential dread. And because Saturn rules over this Capricorn energy, a little bit of a negative Nancy at times, we're definitely having a little bit more of a sober and somber approach to our physical realms and what it is that we actually have to do. So while the moon is still in Sag energy, we're still thinking big. We're still kind of, dreaming that big dream and renewing our faith and confidence and self-esteem and optimism within ourselves. And then bam, we enter into this Capricorn energy and we bring ourselves down a couple of pegs. There are 13 different aspects here today, which is another day, because yesterday we had 13 different aspects as well. It's a very busy day in the cosmos, and 11 of these aspects are going to involve the moon. So the moon in Sagittarius is going to interact with Uranus, the Great Awakener, who is in this Taurus energy. And this particular interaction isn't the best. It's also not the worst, but it provides us with a little bit of a observation on our choice points, on our decision points, on the path and direction that we want to take. Normally, we have Uranus, the Great Awakener, kind of giving us an aha moment, an epiphany, providing us with a breakthrough. And especially since coming out of that full moon lunar eclipse energy in Scorpio on Friday, there has been some breakdown points. There's also been some major, I'm going to say internalized aha and epiphany points. What this particular energy and interaction is doing is kind of showing us where it is that we're not so sure, where we're not certain, where we're not ready for change, where we're not ready to kind of open our minds up, open our heart spaces up to a new perspective, a new understanding. Now, this is, again, a little bit of a conflict because the moon in Sag is usually down for anything. We're all about new adventures. We're all about pushing ourselves out into new territory and just kind of flying by the seat of our pants and winging it. Well, right now we're just emotionally cluster-effed, and so we're really not sure what to do. We really don't feel as adventurous as we should in this energy. We don't feel as comfortable moving into foreign territory as we should with the moon in Sag. And so now we're just starting to kind of close ourselves up. We're kind of cold and rigid in our emotions. We're kind of moving within ourselves because when we're not certain, we seem to retract from the exterior realm. And we're just trying to sort some things out, and clarity just isn't coming the way that we would have hoped for. The moon goes ahead, bumps into the true node, which is going to show us where it is that we're kind of blocking ourselves from growing, from healing, from moving forward, from opening up our mind space, opening up our heart space, to making the changes that we need to make, to push the boundaries of our comfort zones. For some reason, we're just kind of, I'm going to say, stuck in a state of paralysis. We don't know what to do. And even though there are some aspects, very few aspects, that we're absolutely sure of, it doesn't feel like we're able to actually take action and bring any of these things to life, which means that we pull back further, we retreat further, we start questioning everything, we lose our confidence, we lose our optimism, and then all of a sudden, we just don't know which direction to go. The moon then interacts with Mercury, again, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, how we express ourselves, who is retrograde in this Taurus energy, which again is going to kind of bring a new level of confusion. Just when the moon in Sag has us thinking so far into the future and about that big dream, about that big vision, Mercury kind of kicks in and says, okay, that's great, but you have a mess to clean up from the past before you even have a clean slate here in the present moment to actually start building upon in order to actually reach your goals. So this is a disconnect between our heart and our head. Our heart wants us to just be bold and brave and courageous and move on with no questions, with no real direction, with no real certainty. While Mercury, who is logical and practical, retrograde, reflecting back on all of the things that we've created that we're no longer in alignment with, in Taurus energy, has us taking a very logical and practical approach on where it is that, guess what? We can't think about moving forward. We can't take action. We have a mess to clean up. We have to figure some things out before we can go ahead and launch ourselves on a new path and a new direction in moving forward. The moon will then interact with Mars, who is in Cancer energy, again, not the best vibe. And this is going to be another choice point, another crossroads observation that will bring a new level of confusion because, again, Mars being in Cancer energy has not been direct in any kind of way. The waters are choppy, emotionally and intuitively speaking. Just when we feel certain, we lose that moment. Just when we find ourselves just lost in the moment, all of a sudden there's a glimpse of certainty, a glimpse of truth. It is very wish-washy, very up and down, very back and forth, and we're not feeling it. It doesn't feel good. And so when Mars is concerned, we're talking about action. We're talking about being assertive and aggressive enough to identify what it is that we want, what it is that excites us, what it is that we're passionate about, what it is that we actually desire for ourselves, and we're able to take action upon it. Well, not in this case. This is just going to illuminate how far away from these decisions we actually are. This is going to illuminate where it is that we don't know what we're excited about, what we're passionate about, what it is that we actually desire. And don't even think of taking action, because what this is doing is bringing up all the fears and doubts and insecurities, and it's likely going to agitate the F out of us and create a little bit of friction and frustration and even push us into a little bit of anger, because we know that there's changes that need to be made. We're tired of being stagnant. We're tired of being paralyzed. And this is just overall just frustrating because the moon in Sag has us focused on the dream, the vision that we want to be living, but we don't even know how to get there. The moon then interacts with the sun, and lucky for us, this is a positive interaction, which means that we are recognizing how to bridge the gap, how to kind of bring the distance between our past and where it is that we want to go to the future into perspective. And what we're left with is this present moment where we are seeing the big picture of not only where we want to go, but the big picture of how it is that we got here. And of course, the sun shining a bright light in this Taurus energy is shining a bright light on our physical realm, our physical circumstances. What's changing? What's falling apart? What do we have to let go of in order for us to have a space to create something new in its place, to strengthen the foundations of our routines, our relationships, our money matters in the here and now if we choose to actually build upon them, or wipe the slate clean and start fresh. This is going to provide us with a little bit of an energy to make some decisions and see very clearly where it is that, yes, we are moving away from the past element, seeing the big observation picture on where it is that we've come from, where it is that we're at, where it is that we desire to go. And this should be clicking off some aha moments, some epiphanies on what it is that we actually need to do in our physical lives to clear that space out and to get building something new in its place. The moon will then interact with Saturn. Saturn, of course, the Lord of Karma, ruling over roles, responsibilities, structures, and foundations in this Pisces energy, very emotional, very intuitive in deconstructing our lies, our delusions, our old beliefs, our old dreams. And in its place, what are we going to build? Well, that is a very good question. Lucky for us, the moon in Sag, that kind of embodies a new truth, a new mission, a new meaning, a new purpose, a new perspective, is working very well with Mr. Saturn, who does tend to bring us a little bit of a reality check, bring us down a couple of pegs, which, lucky for us, this is a good interaction. It means that the wind isn't being knocked out of our sails totally. We're not reaching a new level of disappointment totally. We are taking a more realistic approach, a more practical approach on what it is that we actually want to pursue. And not just like fly high and say, oh, if I can visualize it, then it's going to happen. If I can just hope and pray for it, it's going to happen. No, Saturn's like, okay, listen, if you want this, here's the actions that you need to take. You got to roll up your sleeve, get your hands dirty. You have to be in a powerful position to be a creator in your life. Where do we need to start? So this is kind of like a realization on where it is that we have to kind of focus on the basic foundational cornerstones, what it is that we have to take action on, what it is that we have to build, what it is that we actually want to create. The sun in Taurus energy will be interacting with Chiron, the wounded healer, in Aries energy. Now, this is probably not going to feel so good, mostly because the Taurus energy has us very connected to our physical body, to the five senses. We have to kind of trust the feelings coming over our physical body as we think and feel about certain situations, certain opportunities, certain dreams, if you will. Chiron energy tends to illuminate the wounds that we still have to kind of heal before we're prepared to actually move forward. So this is going to be an illumination on where it is that we're actually creating more drama, more circumstances, more of an issue for ourselves than actually needs to be. This is kind of like illumination on where it is that we're the problem, where it is that we're holding on too tightly to who it is that we've been and what it is that we've created in order to free ourselves up to realize that we're no longer that person, no longer in alignment with the things that we've created, because we have a new level of awareness, a new level of consciousness, new passions, new desires, but we're really struggling to identify what that is. We just know what it is that we no longer want to pour into, no longer want to create. The moon then goes ahead, bumps into Uranus, just like we started the day off in, but this is a positive aspect, which means that here's an aha moment coming from these earlier aspects popping off, putting us in a situation to kind of see things from different perspectives, different opportunities, different choice points. This is an aha moment. This is an epiphany. This is where we are changing our perspective, changing our heart space, and getting in alignment with what it is that we need to transform in our lives, especially in the realm of our physicality where Taurus energy rules over. The moon then kind of gets into the boxing ring and squares off with Neptune, who is in Pisces energy. This is not going to feel good. Why? Because we're disconnected from our higher self. We're not able to tap into our intuition. We're not able to see very clearly our dreams, our visions, and actually feel good about it. We're cut off from our creativity. We're stuck with the problems, with the issues that we've been illuminated to on what absolutely needs to change, and we're racking our brain and our heart space to come up with a solution that we're just not able to align with right now. Even more than that, this is going to add a new level of conflict in ourselves, new level of confusion, really messing up our headspace and our heart space, because the mental fog, the spiritual fog that rolls in when Neptune and Pisces is in a negative aspect just takes over any clear consciousness, any clear sight, any clear feelings that we were able to have. So shortly thereafter, the sun in Taurus makes a positive interaction with Saturn, who again is in this Pisces energy. This is a beautiful vibe for a couple of reasons. Let's just start off with the fact that the sun shines a bright light in this Taurus energy and shows us what it is that we have to do to make ourselves feel good and happy and safe and secure, and what it is that we have to build. Well, Saturn is here, the Lord of Karma, showing us where it is that we have to build new structures in our lives, especially where belief is concerned, in order for us to get from where it is that we're at to where it is that we desire to be. This is going to kind of show us where we have to be a little bit more willing to make short-term sacrifices for long-term gains. This is going to show us where it is that we have to kind of make small improvements, make small progress in order to actually reach the greater, grander picture. So it is going to be a little bit of a reality check on where it is that we have to move out of this great grand vision that the moon in Sag over the last couple of days is trying to been really pushing us into, and just focus on the here and now, what we have control over, and the small changes that we can make in the here and now in order to align with the great grand vision that we're actually looking to build. The moon in Sag trines beautiful energy with its ruler, Jupiter, planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, blessings in this Aries energy. This is the last aspect that the moon in Sag is going to make before going void, of course, and transitioning into this Capricorn energy. What this does is it brings us very, very high. It raises us up, okay? We are seeing the optimism, the confidence come back, right? Because we just had this Sun and Saturn aspect show us like, okay, it's good to have a good vision on the future, a dream on what it is that you want to create, a very big goal, but it means nothing if you can't come back into the present moment and focus on the smaller details, on building the foundation that's actually going to create the bridge to get us from where it is that we're at to where it is that we desire to be. So we've had this realization. Now we're pumped. We are tapping into a new confidence. We are renewing our faith. We are standing in a new perspective, a new truth. This is illuminating for us the higher purpose, the higher calling that we have. This is actually like restoring our faith, restoring our, I'm going to say, certainty to a certain extent. And we're actually feeling good. We are excited about the projects, the goals, the vision, the dream that we are kind of piecing together. And even more than that, we're just looking for growth. We're looking to take action. We're looking to move. We are seeing the possibilities now in a different light. And we're definitely riding the high that this particular energy is going to provide. And it's a good thing that it provides it at this particular point in the day when it does, because then the moon goes void, of course. And we spend about 3 hours in a place of shakiness, of questioning, of uncertainty, of insecurity. And then we shift into, again, that heavy weighted earth energy of Capricorn at 7:34 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At 8:09 p.m., we have the moon in Capricorn interacting with Pluto, the great transformer himself, who is retrograde in this Aquarian energy. Now, let me just say, we're not going to feel so good. We're not going to feel so hot. We're not going to feel so high. That's why I say to you, enjoy it, enjoy it, enjoy it. Ride those waves when they're high because they don't last long. This is a prime example of that. The moon interacting with Pluto is getting down to the nitty-gritty, feeling the existential dread, recognizing the roles, the responsibilities, the obligations, the commitments that we've made, recognizing where it is that we're not in such a great mind space, we're not feeling so hot, not feeling so sure about this, where the existential dread is kind of weighing us down. And of course, anytime that we feel that way, we have to kind of recognize, are we creating this? Is this my control issues coming up to show me where it is that I need to make a change? Is this the negative narrative that is constantly just sucking the life out of me? Recognizing in the psyche where these mental blockages are alive and well is exactly what Pluto is here to do in order for us to strengthen the boundaries in our own inner narratives, in order for us to move out of this pain and trauma and woe is me storyline into the power and authority that we need to boss up and stand in order for us to make some serious changes and transformations to our lives. The last thing that we have going on here today is the moon, fresh in Capricorn energy, sitting across from, directly opposing Venus, who is fresh in this Cancer energy, because of course Capricorn and Cancer energy sit across from each other in the zodiac wheel. They represent the axis of safety, security, and stability. The Cancer energy wants that in our private lives, in our emotional selves, with our home, with our personal relationships, in our family dynamics. The Capricorn energy wants that safety, security, stability in our public lives, in our careers, in our reputations, with our finances. And what we get here is a tipping point, if you will, on recognizing where it is that we're not happy in our relationships, in our money matters, in our physical circumstances, where it is that we're not feeling so good, feeling so hyped, feeling so confident, where it is that we're not so sure about our personal relationship dynamics, where we are feeling almost obligated to stay in certain situationships that we shouldn't be in. And of course, this is going to bring up a lot of gunk. This is going to make us definitely orient introvertedly in our heart space to figure out what our not so nice thoughts and emotions are trying to tell us. And spoiler alert, it is trying to tell us what it is that we're done with, what it is that we've outgrown, what it is that we're no longer in alignment with, which will lead us to a breaking point, to a distance point, to a termination point. And that, for many of us, is a very scary, scary thing to have to contemplate.